The Bosniaks, or less commonly Bosniaks, are a South Slavic nation and ethnic group inhabiting mainly homeland Bosnia and Herzegovina, along with a native minority present in other countries of the Balkan Peninsula, especially in the Sandžak region of Serbia and Montenegro, in Croatia, and in Kosovo. Bosniaks are typically characterized by their historic tie to the Bosnian historical region. Traditional majority adherents to Islam since the 15th and 16th centuries, common culture and Bosnian language. In the English-speaking world, Bosniaks are also frequently referred to as Bosnian Muslims or simply Bosnians, though the latter is also used to denote all inhabitants of Bosnia and Herzegovina regardless of ethnic origin or to describe citizenship in the country. There are well over 2 million Bosniaks living in the Balkans today, with an estimated additional million settled and living around the world. Several instances of ethnic cleansing and genocide by Bosnian Serbs and Bosnian Croats have had a tremendous effect on the territorial distribution of the population. Partially due to this, a notable Bosniak diaspora exists in a number of countries, including Austria, Germany, Australia, Sweden, Turkey, Canada and the United States. Both within the region and throughout the world, Bosniaks are often noted for their unique culture, which has been influenced by both Eastern and Western civilizations and schools of thought over the course of their history. Ethnonym and definition. According to the Bosniak entry in the Oxford English Dictionary, the first preserved use of Bosniak in English was by British diplomat and historian Paul Ricourt in 1680 as Bosnak, cognate with post-classical Latin Bosniacus, French Bosniak or German Bosniak. The modern spelling is contained in the 1836 Penny Cyclopedia v. 231/1. The inhabitants of Bosnia are composed of Bosniaks, a race of Sclavonian origin. In the Slavic languages, ak is a common suffix appended to words to create a masculine noun. For instance, also found in the ethnonym of Poles and Slovaks. As such, Bosniak is etymologically equivalent to its non-ethnic counterpart Bosnian, a native of Bosnia. From the perspective of Bosniaks, Bosanstvo and Bosniastvo are closely and mutually interconnected, as Bosniaks connect their identity with Bosnia and Herzegovina. The earliest attestation to a Bosnian ethnonym emerged with the historical term Bosnjanin, which denoted the people of the medieval Bosnian kingdom. By the 15th century, the suffix in had been replaced by ak to create the current form Bosniak, first attested in the diplomacy of Bosnian King Tvrtko II, who in 1440 dispatched a delegation to the Polish King of Hungary, Vladislav Warnenchik, asserting a common Slavic ancestry and language between the Bosniak and Pole. The Miroslav Kraleza Lexicographical Institute thus defines Bosniak as the name for the subjects of the Bosnian rulers in the pre-Ottoman era. Bosniak, as well as the older term Bosnjanin, is originally a name defining the inhabitants of the medieval Bosnian state. The Bosniaks derive their ethnonym from Bosnia, first mentioned in De Administranda Imperia by the Byzantine Emperor Constantine VII as the Hurrian of Bosona. Linguists have traditionally proposed the name to be derived from the eponymous river Bosna, believed to be a pre-Slavic hydronym in origin and possibly mentioned for the first time during the 1st century AD by Roman historian Marcus Velleius Paterculus under the name Bathinus Flumen. Another basic source associated with the hydronym Bathinus is the Salonitan inscription of the governor of Dalmatia, Publius Cornelius Dolabella, where it is stated that the Bathinum River divides the Bruci from the Ossariots. Some scholars also connect the Roman road station at Bisanti, first attested in the 5th century Tabula Peutingeriana, to Bosnia. According to the English medievalist William Miller in the work Essays on the Latin Orient, the Slavic settlers in Bosnia adapted the Latin designation, Bisanti, to their own idiom by calling the stream Bosna and themselves Bosniaks. According to philologist Anton Mayer, the name Bosna could essentially be derived from Illyrian basiners, which would be a diversion of the Proto-Indo-European root *bhog, meaning the running water. The Croatian linguist, and one of the world's foremost onomastics experts, Peter Skoke, expressed an opinion that the chronological transformation of this hydronym from the Roman times to its final Slavicization occurred in the following order: *Basnus greater than *Basnus greater than *Basnus greater than *Bosina greater than Bosna greater than Bosna. Other theories involve the rare Latin term Bosina, meaning boundary, and possible Slavic and Thracian origins. For the duration of Ottoman rule, the word Bosniak came to refer to all inhabitants of Bosnia. Turkish terms such as Bosnik Militai, Bosnik Havmi, and Bosnik Tifsi were used in the empire to describe Bosnians in an ethnic or tribal sense, and indeed, 17th-century Ottoman traveller and writer Evliya Çelebi reports in his work Seyahat name of the people in Bosnia as natively known as Bosniaks. However, the concept of nationhood was foreign to the Ottomans at that time, not to mention the idea that Muslims and Christians of some military province could foster any common confessional sense of identity. The inhabitants of Bosnia called themselves various names, from Bosniak, in the full spectrum of the words, meaning with a foundation as a territorial designation, through a series of regional and confessional names, all the way to modern-day national ones. In this regard, Christian Bosnians had not described themselves as either Serbs or Croats prior to the 19th century, and in particular before the Austrian occupation in 1878. When the current tri-ethnic reality of Bosnia and Herzegovina was configured based on religious affiliation, social anthropologist Tone Bringer develops that neither Bosniak, nor Croat, nor Serb identities can be fully understood with reference only to Islam or Christianity respectively, but have to be considered in a specific Bosnian context that has resulted in a shared history and locality among Bosnians of Islamic as well as Christian backgrounds. Identity Bosniaks are generally defined as the South Slavic nation on the territory of the former Yugoslavia whose members identify themselves with Bosnia and Herzegovina as their ethnic state and are part of such a common nation, and of whom the majority are Muslim by religion. Nevertheless, leaders and intellectuals of the Bosniak community may have various perceptions of what it means to be Bosniak. Some may point to an Islamic heritage, while others stress the purely secular and national character of the Bosniak identity and its connection with Bosnian territory and history. Moreover, individuals outside of Bosnia and Herzegovina may hold their own personal interpretations as well. Some people, such as Montenegrin Abdul Kirpjovic, recognize an Islamic component in the Bosniak identity but see it as referring exclusively to the Slavic Muslims in Bosnia. Still others consider all Slavic Muslims in the former Yugoslavia to be Bosniaks. In Serb-dominated Yugoslavia, unlike the preceding Austro-Hungarian Empire, the option to ethnically declare oneself Bosniak was unrecognized throughout the existence of Yugoslavia. As a political compromise, the Constitution of Yugoslavia was amended in 1968 to introduce Muslims, in a national sense, effectively recognizing a constitutive nation whilst avoiding the recognition of Bosniak, or Bosnian, as ethnic or national designations. Prior to this, the great majority of Bosnian Muslims had declared either ethnically undecided Muslim or, to a lesser extent, undecided Yugoslav in censuses pertaining to Yugoslavia, as the other available options were Serb Muslim and Croat Muslim, albeit achieving recognition as a distinct nation by an alternative name. The use of Muslim as an ethnic designation was opposed early on as it sought to label Bosniaks a religious group instead of an ethnic one. To quote Bosnian President Hamdija Požderac at the time, "They don't permit Bosnianhood but they offer Muslimhood. Let us accept their offer, although the wrong name, but with it we shall start the process." In discussion with Josip Broz Tito in 1971 on the constitutional changes which recognized Muslims, upon Bosnia and Herzegovina's declaration of independence from Yugoslavia in the early 1990s, the great majority of Bosnian Muslims aligned themselves with the Bosniak name. In September 1993, at the height of the Bosnian War, the Second Bosniak Congress formed a basis for the official re-establishment of the historical ethnic name Bosniak in deprecation of the former Muslim in use during SFR Yugoslavia. Today, the election law of Bosnia and Herzegovina as well as the Constitution of Bosnia and Herzegovina recognizes the results from the 1991 population census as results referring to Bosniaks, which are, alongside Serbs and Croats, one of the three constituent nations in post-war Bosnia and Herzegovina and the single largest ethnic group in the country. In other ex-Yugoslav countries with significant Slavic Muslim populations, adoption of the Bosniak name has been less consistent. The effects of this phenomenon can best be seen in the censuses. For instance, the 2003 Montenegrin census recorded 48,184 people who registered as Bosniaks and 28,714 who registered as Muslim by nationality. Although Montenegro's Slavic Muslims form one ethnic community with a shared culture and history, this community is divided on whether to register as Bosniaks or as Muslims by nationality. Similarly, the 2002 Slovenian census recorded 8,062 people who registered as Bosnians, presumably highlighting the decision of many secular Bosniaks to primarily identify themselves in that way.